Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us from worldwide. I'm Sterling. It's great to have you back on the channel. And this show is being recorded for Sunday, July 23rd, 2023. As always, if you watch this channel, you know the shows are recorded for entertainment purposes only. So all the information I share with you comes real time through my guides, angels, extended spiritual counsel, ETs, famous people from history. So for entertainment purposes only. Also, if you just get a moment, just remember to like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell. All those things really help the channel. And thanks again for all the individuals who use the super thanks keys and the donate tab on the website. Myself, my office team, we see all the traffic in that area. And thank you very much for all the kind support of the channel. As always, we take questions from our community board. The cutoff time for questions is normally early Friday morning, so my wife can go through them. Again, this week, I think there were 500 questions for this show, and my wife does go through them, whittles them down. I think today we have 71, a top 71 countdown. So thanks for all the diligence and the questions and the really the articulation of all the thoughts, concerns, ideas, things that come in the questions. And I think they're very helpful to a lot of individuals that may not ask the question, but when they see somebody else ask it and it gets answered, it helps them as well. So thanks again for all the diligent support of the channel. Also, if you need to reach me, just go to sterlingpsychicmedium.com, look for the book a session tab. Very straightforward from there. So with no further ado, let's get going on the countdown, the top 71 countdown for Sunday, July 23rd, 2023. Number 71, Sterling, you stated that Putin was planning to use Prigozhin to help take over Belarus. Will he be successful in annexing Belarus into Russia? If so, then Russian forces would be on the border with Poland and Latvia. Yes, I mean, this is correct. This is what Putin's plan is. It looks like he's going to have some success in that area. And that's exactly why he's using the Wagner group to do that. It's not going to be as easy as Putin thinks, but that is the plan. And over the next number of months here, looks like there's going to be some success there. I'm sorry to say. 70. What will be the world impact now that Ukraine blew up the bridge that connects Russia and Crimea? That connects Russia and Crimea. Well, the effects are, I think there's a grain embargo, I think, going on now. So we're going to see over the next few months here some problems with some food shortages related to grain, the problem with grain shipments out of Ukraine. So that's a very direct effect. And I know that Ukraine has been targeting this bridge for a long time in order to kind of eventually Ukraine will get Crimea back, right? This bridge goes between Crimea. They're going to get Crimea back. So it's all part of an overall larger plan. But for the time being, the short term looks like, grain embargoes on behalf of Russia, stopping grain shipments out of Ukraine. And now that's going to go on for a couple of months. 69. Ron DeSantis is training his own personal militia. Several men have left the group due to the inappropriate training practices. What will happen with this militia group? Will private citizens be in danger? I get whatever this is going to fizzle out in short order. So maybe this militia group lasts 6 months, 12 months. I don't see private citizens in danger, but it looks like whatever this group is ends up fizzling out along with DeSantis's campaign. Weeks ago, my team was saying that his campaign was kind of on a death spiral, and it still is. 68. Pythons, an indigenous snake to Southeast Asia, have created a cataclysmic situation for South Florida's ecosystem. Will this invasion species ever be managed and the species contained? It will, but this is going to take a long time, something like 10 years here for this the snake infestation to kind of get under control and the ecosystem be brought back under control. So long time here. It's not a short order problem, they're telling me. 67. Republicans are attempting to give a significant amount of power to the presidency. This attempt, known as Project 25, is a serious threat to democracy and is one step towards a totalitarian government. Will Project 25 become effective administratively or an actual law? No, I don't see it ever passing. I know that's being talked about a lot. It's not going to pass. Now, it looks like it's going to fall by the wayside eventually, so never become law. 66. How does your team explain what happens to a dying person getting ready to cross over and is seeing things in people we don't see? Are they experiencing hallucinations or visions of the other side? It's very common. They're seeing visions of the other side. So they're actually interacting in the same way that psychics and mediums interact with the other side. As you get closer to passing your exit point Earth, you do start to communicate and get together with family members, angels, guides, all sorts of individuals on the other side. Very often you'll see individuals getting ready to pass will start to talk to family members that may have died many years earlier, but the family members are coming around them. So they're actually seeing the other side. It's very true. 65. When will anti-gravity launch vehicles replace chemical reaction rockets as launch vehicles? Well, within about 20 years here, anti-gravity propulsion systems will be more common. Anti-gravity propulsion systems using rare materials are being used for a lot of extraterrestrial craft and even some space programs, some secret space program government craft. But in terms of widespread usage for anti-gravity propulsion systems, it's more like 2 decades out before all this gets vetted out. 64. Hi, Sterling. Do you see any help with taxes for retirees? Taxes on Social Security and private and public pensions can be hard to deal with. And if you were a teacher or other public servant, there's also what they call, I guess, the WEP or the GPO. Okay. Well, whatever this is, it looks like the Biden administration is getting ready to pass something out into next year. So there's some proposal coming that's going to help with this. And to me, my team's saying it's going to pass before the election. The election's in November, so it's going to pass. So good for them. 63. Do the recently discovered Homo naledi, who lived 250,000 to 300,000 years ago, have souls that reincarnate even though their species is extinct? Yes, absolutely. They reincarnate just like any other soul or person or entity that was here on the planet. So regardless of how evolved they were when they were here on Earth, their souls do go to the other side. They do reincarnate. Yes, absolutely. 62, with the global warming, do you see people moving into colder states? Not necessarily. What they're telling me is because every state now, due to climate change, is going to have difficulties. So whether it's extreme weather, all types of extreme weather, plus fires, earthquakes, floods, all regions, I think it was about the U.S., right? Yeah, I'm assuming it's about the U.S. here. All states are going to be tackling climate change issues. So really, it does not look like a big push for many people trying to move to colder states. So it's kind of a mixed bag of extreme weather conditions nationwide. 61. Can extraterrestrials help us when we pray for healing or stability? Yes, and in many cases, extraterrestrials are part of your guide group. If you have work to do here on Earth that aligns with extraterrestrials, they're part of your guide group. And yes, you can pray to them. They'll certainly bring forth healing energy. It's all very true. Not everybody has extraterrestrials in their guide group, but many of them are benevolent on the other side, willing to help. So the answer is yes to this. 60. Can your guides share what the long-term repercussions in North America and beyond are from the Canadian fires and the Alaskan volcano now erupting? I mean, long-term ecological problems with air quality here, at least a good number of years. And the volcano eruption, same thing. It's actually going to, unfortunately, it's going to exacerbate, some bronchial breathing diseases, obviously the air quality, but this is going to go on for years here. So a good decade before some of this calms down in terms of air quality. Now, the severe air quality problems, it'll start to subside. But for some reason, they're telling me there's a high level of contamination in the air that is still going to be around. 59. Hello, Sterling and team. Why are the Saudis continuing their Gulf and financial support of 45, and Jared Kushner. And when will they withdraw their support? I don't see the Saudis withdrawing their support. There's some very long-term business engagements going on between 45's family, and I think we're going Jared Kushner here, and 45, yeah. The whole 45 family, there's long-term business deals ongoing, and some of them are clandestine, and they'll be discovered by the Department of Justice. But I don't see the Saudis withdrawing their support. They're getting still a lot of benefit out of the alignment with the family. 58. My question is, when extraterrestrials share technology, do they ever weigh the health, ethical, or moral motivation of governments? Yes, they do. They actually want to see humanity survive. So that's always kind of the big lab experiment that is Earth, with kind of the whole evolution of what's going on down here. They want humanity to survive. So they do weigh the ethical. And in some cases, this wasn't asked, but, like with the nuclear explosions that have occurred in the past in cities in Japan and elsewhere, they'll never stand in the way of human lessons, but they will stand in the way of the annihilation of the Earth. So they do weigh as they offer up technology. Now, in another 2 to 3 years here, there'll be a big disclosure, a full disclosure of extraterrestrials, what's going on. And you're going to see a lot of new technology distributed around the world to many nations and many governments. 57. Hello, Sterling. Will there ever be a cure for pulmonary hypertension? Will there be a treatment that would reverse this condition? Yeah, absolutely. Already being worked on right now using CRISPR-Cas9 gene editing technology. Within 10 years, very solid new medications for this. And I'm not a doctor, but it looks like there's some sort of the new CRISPR medication will genetically be able to reverse some of the damage on the heart or cardiovascular system. So there's my team's telling me it's kind of a reconstruction or healing of like the heart and cardiovascular system. So that'll all be part of what CRISPR-Cas9 will do. 56. Will unscripted programming ever be unionized? Yes, but not for a while. Now, it's interesting. I think when individuals talk about unscripted, when you say unscripted, what that really means is there's no script for the show. But there's a large volume of what they call reality shows that do have scripts. So fully unscripted shows, like maybe it's just a nature documentary or just shooting outdoor footage. It's going to be a number of years before that gets unionized fully. So whoever asked this question, the programs they're calling unscripted are really scripted, some of the reality shows, and there's already unions for those. 55. What do you see as the outcome for lawsuits and appeals around the copyright content training generative AI? Well, content generative AI is a new form of what they call generative artificial intelligence. And that's AI that can create content. So there's going to be a lot of legal rulings and new laws coming around content generative artificial intelligence. And at the core, this is part of what the strike's about as well, that and getting paid by the actors, SAG-AFTRA, and the Writers Guild, WGA. But yeah, there's a lot coming for that. So this question is, what do you see outcoming for lawsuits? Well, I see positive outcomes for the lawsuits because this is a topic that's going to affect the entire creation of content for years and years to come. So it's all good. This is a lot of process here, but individuals will start to get protected, and then they'll start to put guardrails around what type of content is generated just by artificial intelligence, and even takes people to assist with those technologies. So this is all coming, but it's new legal structures coming within a few years here. 54. Hello, Sterling. With the Hyperloop, Sterling, will the Hyperloop become a reality in the U.S. for high-speed travel in the next 5 to 10 years, especially in the Cleveland area for travel to Chicago? I get it's fully developed like in 6 to 8 years, could be as long as 10 years. but so they're talking to me about phases of the project. Looks like good progress made over the next number of years. But then let's say as you go 10 years out, fully deployed, fully operational. So it's coming. 53. McCarthy says he supports expunging Trump's impeachments and has said the House can vote to do this in August. What can you guys tell us about this effort? Will GOP's efforts to expunge Trump's impeachments be successful? Well, they're sure going to try. You're going to see a lot of the news, but I don't see it being successful. My team's saying it's not going to be successful, but they're definitely going to try. 52, just curious if the term birth angel that you use synonymous with guardian angels, or is there a difference? When we plan our blueprint prior to birth, who attends the planning meeting besides our guides and angels? Well, yes, the term birth angel and guardian angel are really synonymous. And my team always originally said they wanted me to use the term birth angel so that it wasn't confusing with spiritual guides. Sometimes people confuse spiritual guides with guardians or guardian angels. Birth angels is synonymous with the fact that they're assigned to you at birth and they don't leave your side. Guides trade out. But yes, birth angels and guardian angels are one and the same. And then spiritual guides are different. They're separate. And I think what was the other question here? Who attends the planning session? Well, actually, unique spiritual family members you have in your family attend. Ascended masters can attend. Your birth angels, your original set of guides. Big group here attends that initial planning session before you come down. And, a number of people have, I won't call it past life memories, but they remember just before they were born, before they came down, what it was like. So they remember kind of going through the life path development, if you will, the blueprint. Okay, 51 the countdown. Seattle has laws to regulate the trimming and cutting down trees, but these laws are being routinely ignored by developers. Lots are legally cleared of most vegetation, including large trees that are specifically protected, and there are no consequences. Do you see any remedy for this outrageous assault on our beautiful tree canopy, which is so essential for helping to mitigate the effects of climate change? Also, one enormous and culturally important Western red cedar tree here has been much in the news lately, not gone yet, but in greater danger of being illegally cut down. Do you see it being spared? Interesting. It looks like new litigation's coming out of the state to help curtail this problem and new ways to enforce it. I'm highly concerned about this one big tree you're asking about, whoever asked this question. I feel like it's right in the throes, even as we speak here. I hope it's not being cut down right now. It looks like they may be able to save it. I'm very concerned about this one big tree you're asking about. I feel like they may have already started to try to cut it down, like even last week or this week. But new laws are coming to really protect all of this. And I'm hoping that they're going to save this big tree. 50. Hello, Sterling and team. Love your show. What do your guides see the world population will be around 2040? About 8.5 billion worldwide population by 2040. And something like by 2070, almost another billion people, almost 9.8 billion. So I'm being told. So looks like there's an increase in the population. 49. Hello, Sterling and team. My beloved dog Sergio recently passed away. I think he has an interesting story that I'd like to share with you. He was born the 13th, June 13th. He was diagnosed with cancer on the 13th, June 13th. He died on the 13th, July 13th, at age of 13. What do you think about that? Was it a series of coincidences, or is there a message? Does he have any messages for me? Well, he certainly loves you. He wants you to know that he really loves you and he's still around you. 13, numerology wise, if you take 13, it reduces down to 4. And there's the number about 4, and I don't follow a lot of numerology, but my team's kind of reminding me here that 4 Normally means that you're on your life path, you're doing what you're supposed to, things are going to result the way they are. So interesting about the so many 13s for me keep reinforcing that your dog, was it Sergio? Yeah. Was on his life path, and that's a message for you. So there's a message for you that what happened was part of his life path. 48. Will there be a cure soon for feline AIDS and feline leukemia? Yes, and this is going to come out of, again, CRISPR Cas9 gene editing technology. Looks like it's already being worked on right now. And there's some form of this, I don't know, there's a virus that causes this. Again, not a doctor, but things they're going to learn from humans, they actually be able to figure some things out here for felines. So this is all coming within 10 years. And you're going to hear the term, term 10-year time frame around CRISPR technology quite a bit, because there's a lot of gene editing science and testing, and hundreds of companies working on it right now. It's going to take years to develop the CRISPR medications. And then from there, it's going to take a while. They'll be in trials. These medications, vaccines will be in trial, and it'll take a while before it's fully deployed to the public. So, but they're telling me these feline disease questions, whoever asked this, it's going to dovetail right with what they're going to learn about human problems in these areas. 47. Learn so much every time I listen to guides via Sterling. Thank you. Will the homeless in Oregon have a better future through the efforts of Governor Tina Kotek and Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler? Yes, I think I've read on this before, but it's going to be about another 2 years, so it's not going to be overnight. But last time I read on this, I'm getting this again. It looks like there's millions of dollars being put in this. I don't know, it's tens of millions of dollars, 100 million. I don't know what this is, but looks like a lot of money is coming in to help with this problem. And it looks like the two individuals you're asking about, who is it, Tina Kotek and Ted Wheeler, are going to be very instrumental. Yes. 46. Hi, Sterling. I'm sorry. Hi, Linda, Sterling, and team. Many stores have closed in the bigger cities because of shoplifting. Will they ever return? They will. This is going to take another 3 to 5 years for this to turn around. Some of this was a post-pandemic effect, job losses, inner city problems, homelessness. Another 3 to 5 years here. It looks like a lot of stores will start to return as the economy is really bolstered. 45. Democrats, such as Representative Cortez, have placed pressure on Biden to waive the student loan interest for a year while he works on his loan forgiveness plan. Do you see Biden waiving student loan interest? In some respects, I read on the student loan program quite a bit on this channel. My team always has like a volleyball going back and forth. It's like incremental progress all the time. I see some of the interest being waived, but I also see some other loan forgiveness programs coming forward here, some this year and some next year. So it's a little bit of a mishmash, a little bit of how the loan forgiveness is going to get rolled out and in what ways. It does not look like a major forgiving of all the interest, but it's like cropping a lot of it back, along with some other loan forgiveness. So they're telling me it's kind of a batch process here and going in multiple stages. The end effect will be significant loan forgiveness overall for everyone. 44. Hello, Sterling and team. Will extraterrestrials help mankind with adaptive technology to build cities underwater to withstand the great pressures of deep water? Yes, and they've already demonstrated this technology to many governments and scientists worldwide. A little costly to develop right now, so the costs are going to come down. 43. Good day, Sterling. Will Ireland join NATO or stay neutral? Yes, I get Ireland's going to join NATO 1 year after the resolution of the Russia-Ukraine conflict, I'm being told. So looks like they're going to join NATO. 42. Could you please explain what talking in tongues means? I've heard spoken in many church service settings, but would like some clarity through your guides. This is actually an effect of what I'll call over ecstasy of religious experiences, meaning people get very excited with certain types of religious or spiritual experiences. And this is like utterance of not real communication. So this is not spiritual I say this is not spirits talking or channeling through people. This has to do with the ecstasy of a spiritual experience, and the utterances that come out. I want to call them all nonsensical, but they're more sounds than anything else. So that's what they're talking about. They say talking in tongues. It's not. It's nothing that is a real language or translated or being channeled. 41. There's always a lot of controversy between vegetarian versus meat-based diets. What do your guides have to say about this? Well, it's true that depending on your blood type, different types of diets are better for you. So whether you're A, B, O, for example, I think for some blood types, like O blood type, meats are better for your diet. I'll mention a book here. There's a book out many, many years ago called Eat Right for Your Type. And that goes through kind of all the good dietary benefits and non-benefits depending on your blood type. My team is reminding me of the fact that as we go forward here, a lot of the food we eat is going to be plant-based or lab-grown. So it's not going to be animal-based over the next number of years, decade. So I understand why they're asking the question. At some point here over the next number of years, really won't be that much of an issue. A lot of the food we eat will be plant-based. And you think about things like the Impossible Burger. 40. Will CRISPR technology help osteoporosis, and will it be affordable? Yes, here again, within 10 years, and it will be affordable. All CRISPR technology will eventually be very affordable by the masses. And the reason that's the case is that it's going to lower healthcare costs for a lot of insurance companies. Being able to get people in front of CRISPR technology faster will be life-saving, less costly for long-term diseases like cancers. 39. Do light workers ever leave the planet without fulfilling their duties? Well, light workers are no more unique than any other life path. So many light workers come down here on 2 of the 12 different life path purposes, teacher, healer. So remember, where free will intersects with your life path blueprint determines how fast you move through your life path, the scale of achievement, the completeness of achievement. So light workers per se are no more unique than other types of light paths, whether you're down here as a creator, innovator, pathfinder, leader. So there's always a little bit of the scale and scope of achievement for all life paths, including light workers. So no more or less unique than all the other life paths. 38. Hi, Sterling and team. Will the Netherlands stay protected from the rising sea levels of climate change, or will half the country be lost to sea? Well, the Netherlands is below sea level, if I remember correctly. And my team's saying that there's a good 1/3 of that area of the world that's going to, unfortunately, with about 3 decades here, be seriously underwater. Now, there's going to be time to prepare for that. So it looks like they're telling me within about 30 years, 3 decades, 1/3 of the Netherlands is going to have some very severe problems, almost underwater. I won't be able to keep it back. So I'm sorry to say, but preparation is always the best way to handle it. 37, does everyone get alone time with God during their life review? Well, no, not really. The one source, the one force is available to everyone at all times. So that's omnipotent, omnipresent, available to everyone all at once. 36. Edgar Casey's readings often famously touched on pole shift climate change matters. Why then his guides and source advised him to establish his headquarters in Virginia Beach, Virginia, an area where seas are rising and land is subsiding? I'm so puzzled by this. Well, nothing is forever. I feel like when he got that information, it was the best of all alternatives at the time. So nothing is forever. So there'll be an evolution beyond that. I don't feel that he received incorrect information. I'm being told it was the best of all situations at that time, whether it was availability or money or however it was put together. But my team's just saying it was just all about optimizing the kind of the choices he had in front of him at that time. So nothing's forever. There'll be an evolution of the location. 35. Wondering if the Apollo 20 mission was real. Can you or your guides tell us anything about the craft they found bringing back Mona Lisa, or anything else about that trip or ruins discovered? Is Mona Lisa still alive? I get the Apollo 20 mission was never launched. So I don't know if there's confusing information out there for some people, but my team's saying it was never launched and it was scrapped. And whatever's out there, maybe running around social media or some other platform here, but it was never launched. Okay, 34 in the countdown. On your last show, you answered a question about the secret space program. Question: for the civilians and non-civilians recruited to serve in the secret space program, will the government ever officially recognize them as military veterans and provide benefits and back pay? Is it true that most of these people served what is commonly called a 20 and back deployment and had their memories of this time in service to their country altered or suppressed? I get within a decade, could be a little faster here, maybe 8 years, a lot of the people that served in these secret programs will be acknowledged. It's all part of the full disclosure coming with just a few years here of extraterrestrials. So whoever asked this question, I don't see anything about suppression of memories. I do see a lot of very strong, very rigid NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, for these people, but and lives being threatened. I do see that, but it looks like they will be acknowledged and receive benefits. So all this is coming. 33, Sterling, with just about all the airlines and airports seeming to have lost their balance, efficiency, customer service, and staff, when is this going to turn around and return to a sense of calm and reliability? Right now, it is on the customer to come up with solutions when something goes wrong. Will they find a new way of doing things that reduce the stress for everyone? Well, these are still post-pandemic effects that are going on in the airline industry. So people that moved away from the airline industry during the pandemic, pilots that retired, within just a couple of years here, within about 2 years, a lot more pilots are going to be back on, not just training, but I saw them pulling some pilots out of retirement. Those that were forced to retire at 65, they're going to raise it to the age of 67, bring some pilots back. So a number of factors coming back into the airline industry. It's going to take a good 2 years here, but it's going to start to get normalized again. So again, my team's saying that these are kind of post-pandemic effects that we're still dealing with. 32, I'm identical twin. We are definition of yin and yang. My previous spiritual teacher said that twins share the same soul in their current lifetime. Whereas I enjoy getting a 2-for-1 deal, I questioned this thought. What does your team see? Everyone has a unique soul. Twins do not share a soul. Everyone has a unique soul. There are also no such things as walk-ins. I'll throw that in there, where a soul replaces another soul in a human existence in this lifetime. However, twins have unique souls. They come down here with unique life paths, but part of it may be the twin experience. That's very true. 31, I have been taught that ETs are protecting Earth from deploying nuclear weapons. If so, why do they allow the U.S. to drop not 1 but 2 bombs on Japan during World War II? Couldn't we have stopped the war some other way? I think I mentioned this earlier, but extraterrestrials never stand in the way of human lessons, but they will stop the annihilation of humanity. So in that case, one of the lessons apparently for Earth was to somehow find a way to stop the war. And it was a horrific occurrence, a very horrific event. But it did end up stopping the war. So whenever I talk to my team of extraterrestrials, they always mention this is all about lessons for humanity, but never getting in the way of what needs to happen, but at the same time, stopping the full destruction of the planet. 30, hi Sterling and team. What are your thoughts on acupuncture? Does it help an individual on certain areas of the body or whatever ails them? Yes, acupuncture, very effective for thousands of years, very effective. Like anything, you want to find a good professional that's very good in the art. So in some respects, there's a little bit of a skill level, let's put it that way. But the practice of acupuncture, very helpful. 29. Hello, Sterling. Do you still see 45 escaping to Saudi Arabia in the next year, or has the timeliness and possibility of seeking refuge in Saudi Arabia shifted? Nope, I still see him escaping to Saudi Arabia when the time's convenient and when he gets to a point He realized he cannot get out of a lot of the legal entanglements coming up for him. So he never intends to spend a day in jail. He already has the plans for the Middle East worked out. Somehow, my team has always says conjunction with Leave Golf. So it may be a fact, an excuse that he'll go over to Saudi Arabia on behalf of a Leave Golf event or something here. But yeah, he still plans to move and get out to Saudi Arabia and try to escape a lot of the consequences here in the U.S. 28, hi Sterling. It seems the UFO news talk is ramping up, as well as Schumer pushing for disclosure. Has the disclosure timeline moved up? What are your guys saying now about the latest timeline? Full disclosure is still in about 2 to 3 years from where we stand right now. 27, Sterling. I have a question, is about the legalization of marijuana, THC. My husband is a veteran who struggles with PTSD, and THC has been the only supplement that makes him feel like himself again and makes us feel like we have our husband and father back. Will marijuana be decriminalized in Texas or at the U.S. federal level anytime soon? Yeah, I see by the year 2025, as we get down to 2025, federally it's going to be legalized, and it looks like Texas may come very soon thereafter. So it's not this year, doesn't look like next year, but looks like somehow in 2025, that's after the next presidential election. And I've said before that Biden will win that, but that's where it occurs. 26, last week you mentioned that prankster spirits are attracted to Ouija boards. I am curious about the influence of intention and their motivation. If someone has positive intentions when using a Ouija board, are prankster spirits still so inclined to act? Do tarot cards attract these spirits? I practice astrology and follow many tarot readers on YouTube, along with thousands of others. Am I practicing in the opening of massive prankster holes in the universe? So first off, let me just say this. We all need to work with our unique team of angels and guides. That's where the purest information comes from. Now, Ouija boards, when they're developed, they, by and large, attract prankster spirits. And whenever I looked at this with my team, for some reason, Ouija boards attract many, many different prankster spirits wanting to talk all at once. So they're up for a game. It's almost like you're up for a game, they're up for a game. So your intention is in using a Ouija board really has nothing to do with it. It's what's set up. Now, you're not creating any kind of a portal or opening up some sort of a prankster portal or something, whatever this question was. But I always tell people, when you use tools, tarot cards are a tool, pendulums, dowsing rods, really, as long as you're aligning yourself with your angels and guides, whatever way you want to develop that real-time communication, it kind of starts there. Otherwise, any tools that you bring into the situation may give you sporadic answers. That means you get answers that are believable sometimes, not believable, not consistent. So you need to work with your angels and guides, but Ouija boards do attract multiple types of prankster spirits. And so not a reliable tool to use, so to speak. 25, let's see here. You said 45 will be the Republican nominee for president in 2024 and will lose to Biden. Will he claim again the election was stolen? Yes, 100% absolutely. Will make all kinds of noises. But at that point, I do see him based in Saudi Arabia making all the noise. 24, hi Sterling and team. Who or what are the fairies of the British Isles? Extraterrestrials, extra-dimensional, something else? Well, these are all forms of elementals, and there's different types of elementals. Fairies are one type of elemental. I think there's half a dozen types of elementals on the planet, maybe a little more. And so the fairies of the British Isles, fairies of the British Isles, these do look like they're elementals to me and not extraterrestrial. So it looks like they're real experiences people are having in that area. 23, did extraterrestrials share UFO or other technology with Nazi Germany? If so, why? Yes, they shared advanced space technology with all of the world's governments, and their intent was to try to help humanity. Obviously, things got off course with Germany and the Nazis, and in fact, a lot of the German scientists ended up migrating over to the U.S. and brought all that knowledge that they received from extraterrestrials to the U.S. space program. So it's true, the technology was shared with a lot of world governments, including the Nazis, in Germany. 22, Harlan Crow is now being investigated by the IRS. It appears he did not apply his help to Judge Thomas correctly, and apply his help financially to Judge Thomas correctly. How will this go for both? I see a wider investigation this year, late this year, from the IRS into Crow, Harlan Crow, and it looks like it'll have some implications on Judge Thomas, but it's not going to be the factor that removes Thomas. But I do see almost a bit of there's an audit going on here, an investigation of the IRS and the Harlan Crow, and there'll be some back taxes done here. So there's some penalties coming up. 21, please ask the guides on politics in Iowa. The Republicans have passed laws at the detriment of the people, anti-choice, anti-public education, and anti-environmental protections. Please, will Iowa turn blue and have common sense legislation again? I mean, the major blue turnaround in Iowa is not going to happen for a couple of years. It's well after the 2024 election. But there's some turnaround coming as you get out into 2025, is what they're telling me. So it's coming, but it's not going to be fast. 20, dear Sterling, you have mentioned that people who pass in mass exodus, such as school shootings and 9/11, have a soul contract and transcend together. Was there a contract or theme for those who passed from Hiroshima and Nagasaki nuclear attacks? Have they been reincarnated in a certain generation time with an intent to heal or the plant in some way? Yes, absolutely. That's a great example of groups having a soul group contract and coming back to help humanity. So many individuals, the souls that passed in those two nuclear events, did come back very, very quickly. And in fact, they're around the earth right now. Many of them are light workers, teacher healers, trying to help the planet. 19, hi, Sterling and team. In my culture, we celebrate a Dia de Muertos, a Day of the Dead. Sorry if I mispronounced that. I have heard Sterling say that we can call on our departed loved ones anytime. My South American friend and I disagree on this. He has been taught to believe that you shouldn't call on them at all to let them rest. Am I wrong to create an altar and remember my loved ones this way? Well, you know, it's interesting. There's no resting going on the other side. It's a big misnomer. I know people always say rest in peace. When you cross the other side, you're starting a brand new life stream, a life stream, that is. And so they're not resting. And that dimension, that heaven dimension, moves faster than the speed of light. So whenever you elicit, talk about your loved ones, they come around you instantaneously. They love to be around you. They love to show love and help wherever they can. They don't do the heavy lifting in your life. That's up to your angels and guides, but loved ones will always come around you. So I think the biggest misnomer, whoever asked the question, there's no resting going on the other side. It's the start of a new life, and then deciding whether you want to reincarnate and then you want to come back. And many individuals even take on jobs on the other side, like helping, for example, animals cross over, suicide victims, all sorts of individuals involved in mass shootings. So no resting going on over there. You're perfectly fine. Whoever asked the question, your loved ones enjoy hearing from you. 18. With the continuous erosion on the Atlantic Ocean side of Cape Cod, Massachusetts, some experts are saying that Cape Cod will split in two somewhere. Will that happen, and how far out? Will sea levels rising? Will there ever be a Cape Cod in 10 years? Well, there will be a Cape Cod in 10 years, but I'm seeing in 30 to 40 years, a significant portion of that area is going to be underwater. So maybe a third to half that area. So good 3 to 4 decades out, there's some problems here due to climate change and the rising sea levels. 17, when our pets cross over, are they met by other pets, family members, or other animals to help with the crossing the way we are? Well, yes, all individuals, unique family members come to greet pets. So do their direct family members, other family members and their animal families. All very true. Many times when animals are from the angelic realm, they aren't angels. They come down with very specific purpose, unconditional love to teach us lessons. They may go back across, meet with our family members, go up to the angelic realm, take care of some things, and then come back. Many times when I read sessions, I have sessions with people, Their direct pets are with their loved ones when I read them. So actually, the answer is kind of yes to all the elements of who greets pets when they cross over. Many different elements and entities. 16 are people with many tattoos bringing forth energies from past lives in indigenous communities. Well, it all relates to the current life that we're on, but you can certainly resonate with ancestral energy, anything that brings you happiness and peace and inspiration, like tattoos, whatnot. I think it was about tattoos, right? Yeah. That helps you resonate with the energy of elders, ancestors, prior loved ones, that passed over. So all that's true. It's not necessarily resonating, the individual's not really resonating with a past life themselves, but it's all about the kind of the energy they want to bring around them. Now, that's not to say that they weren't an elder in a prior lifetime, but I want to be clear here. The practice of using tattoos really is energetically in this lifetime, helping you align with those energies and helping to bring that energy around you. I hope that helps. 15, please share with us if you were born psychic or did you work to become psychic? Well, I've said this before. I was born with a complete gift, but really didn't start using it until about 30 years ago. And now I should say that I used it in business and within the entertainment industry, but didn't start using it, let's say, out in public the way we're doing it now. And I've said before, humorously, I was shamed into that by a psychic medium, Fred Fassett. Fred Fassett has now passed away. Send love and light to Fred, wonderful psychic medium. But he shamed me into using the gift in a way. He said, why aren't you using it, to help other people, not just business? So I was born with a gift. I didn't have to take a lot of time developing it. I don't read a lot of books on the topics at all. I kind of want to keep the information flow kind of crisp and clean so that it's not that I read something somewhere. But humorously, I tell people sometimes the big story around my psychic gift is there is no real story, except a lot of the things that went on with Fred Fassett and other individuals. So hopefully that helps answer the question. 14, is it true that Disney will be sold in a few years, and how will this affect the parks in Florida? Well, I've talked on this before, but Disney, I don't want to get too far ahead of our skis here, but let me just say that Apple is going to buy a major studio. And that's actually my predictions, my January 2023 predictions that's going to be an event. They have a very close relationship with Disney, but I'm not going to offer any kind of investment advice here. But I will say that if and when Disney is purchased by another conglomerate, the theme parks will be enhanced. The theme parks are really not going to go away. They'll be enhanced. 13, I am an American living in France. The healthcare system here is in a crisis of shortages of doctors, other healthcare workers. Will this change for the better in the next 5 years? Yes. Within the next 5 years, it looks like a lot of healthcare professionals coming back into that area, into France. Looks like, again, there's a pandemic effect. I don't know exactly what happened in that, but maybe an overburdened healthcare system where people concerned about their health or the high COVID rates. But it looks like whatever's happening here, government-wise, new funding, doctors coming back in the healthcare system, looks like a bit of a resurgence happening over the next 5 years here, both in government-funded healthcare or subsidies and new doctors and medical professionals coming back. So the answer is yes, whoever asked this question. 12, do you or your team see that there is any chance of comprehensive immigration reform in the United States? If so, when might that be? Big strides in 2025. So after the presidential election, big strides in this area. Big push towards comprehensive immigration reform, but looks like it'll take stages. So 2025, 2026, 2027, the different types of immigration reform coming. So good news coming. It looks like it's after the 2024 presidential election. Okay, 11 in the countdown. Hi, Sterling and team. While those incarnated here on Earth are behind a veil of forgetting, does the same hold true for beings from other planets, dimensions? Or are we only the ones in existence that experience this? I ask because I hear from many sources there is a waiting list of those on the other side who would love to come here. There's no waiting list. Everybody that wants to on a free will basis come here can. The veil is getting thinner for everybody on the planet. extraterrestrials do have a bit of a veil. They don't remember all their prior lifetimes. They do communicate much better with the one source, the one force than many humans do. And as we move forward on Earth here, many human beings will develop skills very easily, psychic mediumship skills, where you see a lot of psychic mediums do it. So that skill, that talent will be much more easily available to everybody. So hopefully that answers all the questions here. 10, hi Sterling, you have mentioned in prior episodes that ascended masters are part of an elite spiritual group of the mostly evolved or highly evolved entities. Do ascended masters also have leaders or levels within their realm? Yes, they do. So everybody continues to evolve. Even ascended masters still learn to a certain level on the other side in heaven. So yeah, there's a stacking, if you will, of ascended masters. Obviously, they're very close to the angelic realm. Some are in the angelic realm, but they're still learning, if you will. We all learn. All entities in the universe learn, except the one force, the one source, omnipotent, omnipresent. 9, hi Sterling and team. I've recently started trying to contact my spirit guides using the method you recommended. On the first day of asking my question, a drum I have on the wall fell down just as I was finishing up. And another day I pulled an oracle card that seemed to answer my question. Was that my guides communicating with me? If so, does that mean that my question has been answered? Well, yeah, the homework I described is in a show called Talking with Heaven on our channel, done about 2.5 years ago. That gives you kind of the real-time ability as you practice that homework 5 minutes a day to communicate real-time with your teams. Ask a question, get an answer, and the answers always will get revealed, sometimes right away, sometimes later in the day. Now, this person is asking whether a drum that fell down or something else was communicated, or they pulled an oracle card. It looks to me like whoever asked this question, you were getting a confirmation. You were getting a confirmation to the question you asked, but you still have what I call sporadic communications. That means like get the correct answer sometimes, not the correct answer other times. That takes practice. That homework I describe in that show can be very beneficial. 8, the attorney general from 19 states are stating they will follow their residents, okay, if they get an abortion in another state where it is legal, and request their medical records for their own purposes. They have written a letter to President Biden claiming this right. What do your guides see as the outcome of this horrific power play over women, which is also a total violation of their personal rights and HIPAA laws? I see this getting challenged by both state and federal courts, nationwide here. And it's going to go through a couple of cycles in the courts, but it will be deemed not non-lawful. And I don't see this going anywhere. So some of the records, there's going to be some preliminary cases here that are going to have to get resolved. But by and large, it looks like the federal government and state governments are going to come down the side of protecting individuals' rights and not tracking people per se when they cross state lines, or certainly not having any legal repercussions. So it's going to end up okay, but there's a fight through the courts here. 7, in 1835, the Cherokee Nation was promised a seat in Congress. They are still waiting. Do you see anything happening soon? Yeah, within a few years here. I don't think it's any longer than 5 years, maybe a little faster. It looks like they'll have a seat. Yeah, that's what they're telling me. 6, the former intelligence officer, David Grush, has alleged that the U.S. government has a covert program focused on recovering debris from crashed non-human origin spacecraft, as well as bodies and some reverse engineered technology. There has been no public confirmation of Grush's account. Congressional hearing is scheduled for July 26th with additional high-level witnesses. What confirmed information will come out at this hearing? I get he's a former U.S. intelligence officer or something of that nature. So it looks like this will be, I don't want to call him a whistleblower, but is he a whistleblower? No. Well, my team is using that term, but it looks like whatever he has is truthful information, and it's going to bolster the real information and the real knowledge and the full disclosure coming out. So good progress being made by whatever he's offering up. It's truthful information, and it's going to get into the hands of a lot of the right people. Yeah, so it looks like, I think they're asking about a hearing, right? What confirmed information will come out at this hearing? That's what my guides are saying. It looks like the information will be confirmed is real, and it's going to help with the overall dialogue for full disclosure. 5, Sterling, does your team predict the time with the United States and Mexico have a partnership like that of the European Union with open borders, right to work laws, and a common economy? Yes, but boy, that looks like it's a little further off than people might hope. It looks like it's more like 2 decades off, like 20 years. Looks like it'll eventually get to that point, but it's going to take 2 decades to make it there. 4, hi, Sterling. It's just my husband and me in our house. I was lying in bed and just finished listening to a beautiful angel of light meditation. My husband was still sleeping and the house was quiet. Suddenly, out of nowhere, I heard a baby laughing. It was coming from the hallway, lasted about 5 seconds, and it was all quiet. Can you please tell what or who that was? This was a child on the other side related to your family. And it looks like, I don't know who asked this question, it looks like that child might be related to your direct family. So a child that passed away earlier in childbirth or didn't make it, it's a direct relationship of that child to your family. So that's a loving gesture of the child on the other side saying, I'm okay. 3 in the countdown. Hi, Sterling. Will any other country ever come forward and actually confirm 45's involvement in criminal activities in their country, or any other attempt to intimidate, influence foreign relations? Yes, it looks like a number of countries are going to reveal, Middle Eastern countries are going to reveal what went on with 45, as well as in Russia and Ukraine. So there's many different areas of the world here are going to come forward with information and evidence in this area. And now we're down to number 2 and number 1. I always take notes before the show, so I'll go through those. Number 2, do you see anything coming up this week? New military strikes in Ukraine, significant military strikes, and new weapons systems delivered. More economic good news for the U.S. economy. Several diplomats traveling to Europe for discussions relative to peace negotiations, trying to get Ukraine-Russia conflict under control. So I don't know if this is going to be in the media, but I do see a number of diplomats going to Europe again here for some sort of peace discussion. So I think it's going to come out, might come out in weeks to come. It looks like this is the week they're headed over there. And yeah, so they just think it's not going to be revealed. And number 1, do you have anything your guides want to share? We underestimate the good we do by the smallest things we do in the world. Step into the goodness of the world and be part of the ongoing changes taking place right now. So everybody, no matter what you do, you have a tremendous effect on moving goodwill and love forward in this world. On that note, that concludes the show being recorded for Sunday, July 23rd, 2023. As always, if you need to reach me, go to sterlingpsychicmedium.com, look for the Book a Session tab. I am doing a show with Linda Grindle, the Comanche Psychic, next Sunday. That'll be on Linda's channel. I'm going to wish you all a lot of goodwill and tremendous love to you and your families. Take care. I'll see you again soon.